Rust can be a very hard game sometimes. No! Which is why I have put together 15 tips that you might not know about Rust to help improve your gameplay and give you guys a little edge over other players. The first tip I have is actually for the binoculars, a very underrated item in my opinion. But anyway, whenever you use the binoculars, there's this annoying like black dead space where you can't see anything. And you can actually use this command here to get rid of the overlay, and this enables you to see the whole screen, giving you the advantage over other people. This next tip is kind of a niche thing, but it's actually very cool. If you have a clan or a neighbor you really want to mess with, and they park their car outside, or for some reason it's just outside their TC, you can actually destroy it for pretty cheap and get whatever they have inside. All you need are the bar front tier doors and a few building supplies. Then, after you build a door frame, just get the car into the doorway and then just close the bar doors. It may take a little bit depending on the health of the car, but this is a great way to mess with people, and it's just funny as hell. This next tip is useful if you find yourself on top of a very tall base or like a rock and you need to get down very quickly. You need to find a wall and just ever so slightly clip it on your way down. You will take a very small amount of damage, but it's obviously better than the alternative of taking the full fall damage. This tip is for the minicopter people. It does require a little bit of skill to pull off, but chain link fences don't hurt the minicopter if you fly into them. It does actually stop most of the momentum when flying as well. You do, however, have to be careful, because if you hit the frames, you do damage the minicopter and it probably will explode. This is useful though if you want to make an emergency landing on top of your base and not completely destroy your minicopter. The fifth tip of the video will most likely be more relevant to the early game, but it could be useful for late game as well if you're trying to be stealthy and not shoot your gun. This tip relates to animal AI and how to de-aggro them. If you find yourself being chased by a bear or pig or really any other hostile animal, you will need to find a wall and just jump against it. This will confuse the AI of the animal and make it just run away. This next tip is actually going to be a door camper alarm, so you're going to need these 4 items here. Place the heartbeat sensor outside near your front door, come back into your base, and you can put the button and the siren just kind of in close proximity. And then what you're going to want to do is put the power out to the power in on this heartbeat sensor out here, just like so. And then you're going to put the power out to the power in on that siren inside your base. Then once we do that, I'm going to hit this button in a second here, and it's going to show you that there's nobody outside, right? Nobody. And then I'm going to spawn somebody there for you guys to see that it does in fact work. And now that there's somebody out there, I'm going to hit the button again, and you're going to see that it does detect that there is somebody outside your base. So this is super useful if you can find these parts. They're pretty common. I don't expect it to be too hard to find it. And then I'm going to kill this guy here so you can see that it does indeed work. And just like that, you have a working door camper alarm. Number 7 is going to relate to making gunpowder and the mixing table. So you can see here you need 10 sulfur, 10 charcoal, 10 sulfur, 10 charcoal. However, when you craft it in your inventory, you need 30 charcoal and 20 sulfur. And I know you're probably thinking that's not that much of a difference, but when you're making rockets on rockets on rockets, it is a huge difference for the charcoal production. Number 8 is actually gonna have to do with a setting, and we've all been there. We kill somebody, they drop their weapon in the tall grass and we can't find it. But if you turn off grass displacement and you can't find weapons like this, it makes it very hard to see them. But if we go back into the settings and turn grass displacement on, any weapon that falls in a tall grass is much easier to see. I mean, that's way better than before. No more yoking someone and losing the AK in the tall grass. Just a huge advantage. This next tip relates to supply signals, and if you're on a really high population server and you don't want to attract a lot of attention, you can actually get rid of this huge purple column of smoke. All you're going to need is a garage door, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to equip that supply signal and then hold right click and stick it to the garage door just like you would stick like a bean can grenade, for example, and then just roll it up. and that's gonna hide all the smoke. And I'm gonna go on top of the building here to show you. There's no purple smoke, and the supply signal will come down, and people will obviously be able to see the supply signal, but they won't be able to see the purple smoke. The 10th tip is going to have to do with melee weapons in the early game. And as you can see here, the knives actually don't slow you down at all when you hit while running. But when you pull out the spear, or really any other melee weapon for that matter, it really slows you down. So if you're really trying to catch someone, you better be using a knife. The next tip we have here is actually a combination of tips all about Oxum's gas station. But there's actually a bunch of hiding spots. And if you jump up on this door right here, it might take you a few tries. It took me a few tries. This is a great place to surprise people. A lot of people don't look here. You can shoot down. But usually once you kill one person and they come back, they can kind of see your feet from outside. So I'd only use it once. But then you can run up here. And some people don't know about this one. If you run around here, you can jump onto this air vent right here. Jump onto here. And then jump into this little cubby. And this is like kind of a fun way to trick people when they know you went up. And you can actually shoot through that little gap as well. It's just great. People aren't going to expect it. And then you can run over here. And a lot of people just drop down and take the full damage. Like right here. But if you drop down here, you actually don't take any damage. So don't get caught lacking taking 10 damage going off Oxums. You just don't need to do it. This next tip might seem kind of obvious, but I see some people still not realize this. But if you find a gun on the ground with no ammo, don't wait to research it, because you're probably thinking, I need the ammo first before I research it. But if you research, like for example, the SAR, and then you make it, you're gonna get those 6 bullets back to research anyway. So there's no point to leave it sitting around when you could be using it. This next tip is actually a building tip. If you're ever building a loot room and you can't seem to fit that last wooden box in there, all you have to do is rotate that wall, and the hard side actually has a little bit less of a hitbox for you to fit that wooden box. And then you can also just rotate it back when you're done. Tip number 14 is probably just a bug, but it's cool to know while you can still do it. But if you ever need to hide something on the fly, you need a wooden box, and you can just place it into a node, and then you can access that corner and place whatever you want in there, and it's like you never even put a box in there. Pretty useful for hiding stuff. This next tip is really more of a PSA because it just drives me crazy when I see people doing it. But you can reach the supermarket recycler through the fence. There is no reason to go inside of the fence. It is just a great place to get killed. Like, I see so many people do it. There's no reason you should be there. You can collect all your stuff through the fence. There is no reason you should be in there. That's my last tip. That brings me to the end of the video. Make sure to like the video and subscribe. I put out Rust item store reviews every week and other Rust content every once in a while. I really appreciate you guys watching all the way through, and I will see you guys in the next one.